Hello everybody and welcome back to Ant Holleufer. Today we are once again taking a look at the Lasius Niger experiment. This is now episode number 4 and there's starting to be a really massive difference between the different colonies, but you'll see that in a minute or so. But what I need to say is all colonies have been moved from one test tube to another. This was one of the things I was the most scared of, with the queens moving from one colony to another, and 3 queen colony, maybe the workers would start attacking each other or the different queens. But all the moving went fine. It took about 3 days to move all colonies, so all colonies is in a new test tube. But yeah, let's start the video. So starting off with 1A, as we do every episode, except for the first one, we have the colony with a few workers. So between the episodes I have fed all colonies, so I have fed this colony, just didn't want to record it because it isn't that special. But I moved them into this new test tube because the old one was getting kind of dirty, and for some reason they decided to stay in the tube. I can say today, a few days after the recording, they have moved out of the tube, but for some reason they decided to live in the tube for the first few days. I guess because it had their old scent in there or something. But I mean, the colony isn't doing great, but they do have around 5 workers, I think. But since we have this tubing in front of the eggs, I can't really see how many eggs there are, but I know there'll be at least 4 to 5 weeks gap before the next set of workers arrives. So heading over to 2B, you can see she is exactly like in the first episode actually, and the second, and the third, and once again in today's episode. So like people have suggested in the comments, she may be infertile or something, because her eggs have molded, and you can see on the right side this yellow mold. I don't know what's wrong with her. I'd guess that she's infertile, but no matter what, I will take her out of the experiment today. So this will be her last appearance in the Lasius Niger experiment. And with that said, we now have the first queen to leave the experiment, and we're now down to 11 alive queens. Heading over to 2A, this colony I'd actually thought that I would exit the experiment, but as you can see, they have suddenly made a pretty big return. Even though there are only 2 workers, there are a lot of eggs and a few larvae as well, so they're just a bit behind the experiment. After the first moving of the test tubes, where I kind of failed and for some reason the queens left their original tube and they didn't take their eggs with them, they did take 2 cocoons with them, and these 2 cocoons have turned into adult workers, and they have laid some new eggs. So I expected the colony would kind of just not work, like 1B maybe. But the colony seems to be doing fine, just a little bit behind the other colonies. And as you also can see, there are 5 larvae or something and a few eggs. But more importantly, we have 2 alive queens. Heading over to 2B, we can now see that this colony has just exploded like we expected. So in last episode there were just so many pupae and the first few workers had enclosed. But in this episode, I mean, this is just, it's crazy. I don't know how many workers there are, I'd guess around maybe 20 workers. And there's lots of eggs as well. And it's just so crazy to see the colony. I mean, this colony compared to 1A, no comparison needed. This one definitely wins. But after I gave them some food, I of course disturbed the scent inside the test tube, and the whole colony went haywire, even though the queens didn't, it was just the workers. But this is the first time I'm feeding the colony after they have gotten all of these new enclosed workers. But except for these 2 ants eating in the sugar and tasting a little bit, they weren't at all interested. So I don't know why I looked at them for around 15 minutes and later took a look once again, but in all that time not really any workers over feasting. So I don't know if it's because they're just overfed from the first meal they got, or I don't know why, but they didn't seem that interested. But from our top view of the colony, you can see the queen. One of the queens are right on top of all the eggs. So it's very hard to see how many eggs we have in reality. But we'll just have to wait till the cocoons arrive to kind of see the next population boom. But I mean, it's crazy to see how many eggs there are. I don't know. I'd guess there are around 50, maybe even more. So I can't wait for this colony to explode. But once again, 2 queens, seemingly healthy and alive. Moving on to the next colony. Colony 3A. And if you thought Colony 2B was amazing, Colony 3A is trying to catch up with them in a very quick manner. So I don't really know which colony has more workers, but there's definitely a lot of brood in this colony once again. I think 2B has more workers for now, but if all these 3 queens survive and all the larvae they have and eggs they'll definitely explode in numbers even more than 2B. I also decided to feed this colony, and with them pretty much the same result as 2B. They weren't that interested, except for a few sips here and there. They weren't really that hungry. But just like in episode 3, the queen decided to go over and have a little look. Before she decided to return once again. And with the queens kind of taking apart from each other, I tried to get from the top view once again, and as you can see, there's just a lot of workers. I don't know if 2B has more workers than 3A. All I know is 3A has a lot of brood. I mean, it's crazy to watch it, and I don't know, I just can't believe these colonies. And from this clip right here, almost looks like the queens are actually doing some prophylaxis between each other. I don't know, I didn't notice this while recording, so I didn't look from the side. But amazing to watch this colony. It's just, yeah, I'm out of words. I can't wait for these colonies to explode. And once again, just like with 2A and 2B, we have 2 alive queens plus another one because it's the 3A colony. So 3 alive queens, and all 3 queens is seemingly all healthy. So for now, this experiment is going way better than I expected. Personally, I know when I originally started, I had some fears that the queens would have killed each other before the second episode. So from every episode I record, it's always kind of like quick record because I don't know what will happen tomorrow. But to my surprise, there haven't anything yet. Moving over to the last colony, we have 3B, and just like 1B, this colony will probably be out of the experiment by episode 6. I think if there ain't any larvae, as you can see, there are a few larvae and some eggs, but if these eggs and larvae fail to go into cocoon stage, this colony won't be represented in the Lasius Niger experiment by episode number 6. So episode 5 will be the last episode, unless there are some workers. I don't know what has been wrong with this colony. I mean, I don't know if the queens have attacked each other, or if it's just some infertile queens or something. Maybe there's only one fertile queen. I don't know, to be honest. But we'll just have to wait. So yeah, guys. Colony 1B is out of the experiment, and you know, we have known that since episode 3, really. I mean, some of the people already suggested in the comments that the colony was infertile, but now it's official. But let's hope 3B gets some workers quick, because else this will also be the second last episode they're in. But I also have some exciting news. Not for the Lasius Niger experiment, but for the channel. I'll be moving out of this apartment right now. This is a 2-room apartment, and the ants are kind of just stacked right here, some are over there. I mean, this is my living room right here with the TV in the background. But I'll be moving into a new apartment, and this time we'll have a dedicated ant room. So yeah, if we're missing a video next week, or in 2 weeks time, a Sunday. I'll probably do a live stream instead, but that is simply just because I'm moving from one apartment to another. But yeah guys, I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!